delighted to have with me Swati Vora, founder of Returnize. She leads a transformative program dedicated to empowering women as they navigate career re-entry after a hiatus. An accomplished database scientist, Swati spent 2 decades at IBM's research center before stepping away from her career. However, reclaiming her professional identity proved far more challenging than she had anticipated. In 2018, inspired by her own journey and a strong belief in the power of sisterhood, Swati launched Returnize. She recognized that many women, despite their impressive achievements, often struggle to define their next professional direction and hesitate to take the steps towards building a new identity in the workforce. Returnize offers the clarity and structured framework women need to navigate these challenges and build a strong foundation for their career re-entry. Through a thoughtful blend of personalized coaching, a data driven approach, and a supportive community, Returnize has empowered hundreds of women to rediscover their confidence and achieve their career aspirations. Wow, Swati, that is wonderful. We are so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for your time, and welcome to the podcast series of IBIC.
Thank you so much, Aparna. It's my really pleasure to be here. Thank you, IBIC. It's just so pleasurable to connect with all the women, your audience, as well as this is March, Women's History Month. So what's better time than now to really connect with people, share my story. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm hoping to share a relevant story that will connect with the audience as well. Thank you.
Oh, lovely. I look forward to our session. Let's jump straight into it, Swati.
Mhm.
So I'm going to begin by asking you, what led you to start Returnize, Swati?
Yeah, great question because it's been my passion now. And so let's rewind the clock a little bit. It was 1987 as a fresh graduate when I started my career at IBM. IBM's research center here in San Jose in database technologies, had a wonderful time. And for the following 20 years, I worked on great database technologies. I worked with awesome people in the industry, had a good time. And then I decided to take a career pause for some family reasons, just to take a deep breath. And plan was to, of course, just take a pause, not retire. So I was planning to eventually get back to the workforce, but as many people, many women especially will relate to me, 1 year became two, and two became many uh, during that career gap years. And when I was trying to get back to the workforce, I was actually very surprised to realize that uh, there were a lot of challenges that I was facing. Uh, well, First of all, the technology had shifted, changed completely. The landscape looked very, very different from what I was doing at IBM. Then, there were all these new frameworks, there were new products, there were new languages in the database field or around that area. And then there were all these young graduates entering the workforce. And I started questioning, will I be able to compete with them? Will I be able to really stand with them? Because they were armed with all these new skills and new curriculums. And the third thing was, I could have gone back to IBM. But then all my well wishers around me started advising, why do you want to go back to where you came from? You worked 20 years over there. You should explore all these brand new companies, all the new startups, new products, and all that added to the confusion. It was very chaotic. And from 1 year to next year, I just kept postponing my journey. Every New Year's, I would say, this year, I'm really going to prepare my resume. I'm going to start applying, and by summertime, I will have my job. Summer would come and go, year would pass by, and the story would repeat. long story short, I eventually prepared myself, picked up new technologies, frameworks, languages, and re-entered the tech world. But something had shifted within me. I uh, I kept I was not getting inclined towards technology world, the corporate world any longer. I was trying to figure out, if this happened to me, are there other women who also feel lost and confused and lose their confidence while they're re-entering the workforce? And is there any platform, is there any process that allows them to do this systematically in a structured way? And that's how I jumped both feet into this idea of, I really want to do something for this problem that I have identified and solved. Can I do it for others? And that's how I jumped both feet in and started something called Returnize. And uh, before we move forward, but there's a little story behind this name. I was so energized to find my own professional identity, that I thought that it's really not return to work. See, work we are doing all the time. It's not we are returning to work, but I was happy to return to my professional identity. I was re-energized by that idea. And that's how the name Returnize came into existence.
Oh, that's very inspiring, Swati. It was lovely to hear
Thank you.
what led you to find Returnize. Um, Next, I'm curious about how you balance your work life and family life. I know for many people, including me, it's a challenge to balance both. How do you do that?
Yes, that's a good question, because I think every professional is trying to solve this work-life balance problem all the time, right? And what I think is, I think our life we perform various roles in our lives. All of us are performing something called relationship roles. We are daughters, we are sons, we are parents, we are cousins, friends, and uh, we are performing those roles all the time in our life. Then there are these passion roles, something that really brings joy to us, right? So somebody is passionate about music, art, just taking long walks, whatever brings joy to somebody. We are also looking at these ideas of well-being and personal growth. So life as a big pie, we are having all these slices that we are performing, uh, we are really working on. And then there is this little slice which identifies us from time to time, which is our professional identity.
Yeah.
And that professional identity really, for many of us, brings together our skill sets, our ambitions, our purpose. It drives us forward from a day-to-day basis. So all these slices, all these roles, they need to remain in a balance. They all need to, this is work and life together, right? And they need to remain in a balance, but that does not mean they're stationary. They're continuously shifting. And what we need to be doing is we have to pay attention to what is really important at any given time, and how they're shifting, and we have to be really mindful about it. So personally, actually, let me share a story with you, right? When I first started at IBM, I remember one of my senior colleagues coming to me and saying this to me. And he said, look, Swati, balance is not about always walking on a straight line. Sometimes you shift to the left, sometimes to the right, but as long as you focus on the center and try to bring yourself to the center, and if you achieve that more often than not, that's when you are in a happy balance mode, right? And that has stuck with me forever. So personally, what I have done all along is, as I'm performing all these roles of relationships, passions, my well-being, and professional identity, um, I think the first thing I've done, and I will advise everyone to just lean on your support system. take help. Your family, your friends, your colleagues, just your community, and they're there for you. So lean in, and take advantage of that support system. I think the second thing that I'll say is prioritize. From time to time, understand what your priorities are. Because, as I said, in this entire pie of life, there's so many things happening. What is your at any given time? What is really a priority? Get that clarity. And I often think of this. On Women's Day and on Mother's Day, we all receive these. Picture of a woman with multiple arms, juggling, one hand holding a child, one hand holding a laptop, and then driving and everything. And awesome, we are capable of doing this. All of us are capable of doing multiple things. But I often wonder, is that woman really smiling? And if doing these multiple things, if it is not bringing joy to you all the time, then you need to sit back and say, what can I drop? And that's what I mean by prioritizing. So if you do that, then you will be achieving that work life balance more often than not. So just stay mindful about it.
Very well said, Swati. I mean, this is great advice for women that too, like, I'm going to take this to me also personally. Thank you so much. I'm curious, Swati, like, what are the biggest challenges or obstacles you faced when you initially set up Returnize, and what are the ongoing challenges that you face during the operations? Can you
Uh,
walk us through that?
yeah, definitely. See, I completely shifted from, at least that's what I think, I completely shifted from my previous professional life of being a database technologist to now creating this platform for women who are trying to get back to the workforce, right? I pivoted, and I've been thinking more about it, that have I really pivoted, right? Because a pivot usually suggests that it's a complete change. But I found myself, and I think for most of us in our careers, we don't really do a complete shift, a complete change. What happens is there is always a narrative thread that's running through our past experiences to what we are doing now and what we will do in the future. So, understanding that connecting thread allows us to pull together the right kind of technical skills, the right kind of soft skills, the right kind of experiences into what we are going to do next. And I think that's what has happened when I'm working on when I first started Returnize, and I'm now as I'm taking it forward, right? So I wouldn't call them obstacles, but what I would say is there were, of course, multiple challenges because this was a brand new field for me. I was not trained in this particular field. And challenges always look very, very big and scary when you haven't even gotten any solution or a sense of solution. So I would say the first thing that I had to do was identifying the right kind of problem that I wanted to solve.
Right.
I think it is very important to understand. It is important to, I would say, formulating the problem correctly. Because if you do not formulate the problem correctly, you will never find a solution that will satisfy you. How can it be? Right? So I had to really work on identifying the problem. What problem did I want to really solve in this the space of women returning to the workforce? And once I worked on identifying that problem where something clicked with me, I was passionate about, I could offer a solution, my skills worked, my uh, everything that I really wanted to do worked. Then the next step was, of course, finding a right kind of solution. And it is not, I wouldn't say it's a linear process, by the way. It's a feedback loop, so you have to keep going back and forth. But offering a solution that, again, I had my expertise in, I could put together something because I had experienced this break, I had done something to come out of that break. And how could I formulate that so that I could offer a solution to women who would take advantage of that. And see, and the third thing is, so I'm passionate about working with women and bringing them out of this sort of lonely, dark space where they don't know how to really get to the workforce again. Uh, and I'm passionate about it, but passion often is not enough to create a profession. There's a difference between passion and profession. So, as a profession, I then needed to understand how can I scale this? How
Yeah.
can I scale the program that I have, which will work with all women,
Correct.
regardless of their past experiences, education, their cultures, where they come from? How can this program work for all women who have take a break, a career break? So I think these were sort of the three steps. And as I said, it's an ongoing process. And I keep applying my previous technical expertise of goal setting, understanding how to measure progress, and project management principles, data principles in continuing this entire journey of Returnize.
Yeah, right. Right. Lovely, lovely, Swati. Thank you so much for the insights. I would like to ask you from a women's perspective, right? For women entering the workforce, what key recommendations do you have regarding career planning, goal setting, and defining success? How should we be defining success?
Well, first of all, I will say uh, I'm really happy for anyone who is entering the workforce. It is an awesome feeling, right? Because getting that professional identity, getting the professional experience, entering, starting your new career, and whether it's starting your new career or re-entering a career after a break, or whether you are changing from what you were doing to something new, in all these areas, I think that workspace, the professional space, really allows us to be curious. It stimulates us intellectually. It allows us to have adult conversations with intelligent adults around us. Just connects
Right.
us with the world around us, right? So it's exciting. It's always exciting to start something new. So I will, first thing I'll say is just take it all in. And
Right.
then we can talk about goals and relationships and all that stuff. But I think just take it all. Don't think too much. Just enjoy the process of starting something brand new. And then about the goals, right? They're important. And I would say there should be two types of goals. One which is a bigger goal, which is a larger goal, uh, which you may not have a good clarity about. But then you should have these smaller goals, which allow you to take tinier steps. When you finish those goals, then you feel good because it's a positive feedback loop. And it gives you momentum, it gives you energy. So from time to time, uh, adjust these goals. As I said before, that take a step back and understand what you're doing, why you're doing that, and realign yourself. Um, because what happens often is all of us have this tendency of imagining a final picture in our head. It's like a painting where we all imagine, oh, there's going to be a frame and there's going to be a couple of mountains, a sunrise, a river flowing through a little hut, and then we start the process of painting that picture. But not all of us are equipped with right kind of brushes and paints and even ability to draw, and the final picture looks really bad and we get disappointed. I would say that when you're setting your goals, have a framework in your mind. Once you have that framework, start the process and let the painting evolve. And that's going to really make you happy. So, having said that, it's not that trivial to just sit in one corner and say, you know what, now let me readjust my goals and realign myself, right? Because you're always often emotionally attached to your journey itself. And when you're emotionally attached, it is hard to really step back and say, where am I going wrong? How can I readjust? And you get confused in your own process and your thinking. So, the second piece of advice I would give everyone is get a mentor, get
Yeah.
a or
Okay.
a couple of mentors, because these mentors are observing your journey. They're looking at your skills that you have, shining a new light on these skills, and then they actually make your journey going forward more fruitful. So mentors are really, really very important as you set your goals and want to make a progress. And the third piece of advice I would give is be patient, because no matter what field you enter, you will have to pick up new technologies. So you have to stay focused on picking up new technologies, but at the same time, don't forget your soft skills and cultivating and honing your relationships. Because in this rut of new technology and advancement, we forget to keep up to date our soft skills and keep forgetting how important these relationships with other people are. And in the long run, I I think roles come and go, positions come and go, but relationships stay strong and alive. So make sure that you really focus on your soft skills, relationships, have a mentor, and uh, be happy.
Yeah. I mean, these are great advices, Swati. Like, personally, for me, I've had great mentors throughout my career, and that has proved to be very, very helpful. So, these are great advices, Swati. Thank you so much. I hope it resonates with our audience too. Right. So moving on, right, I would like to understand now, networking events and all those things are big, right? So there are like events that many companies hold yearly, annually, right? So how do you view the importance of networking in advancing one's professional career?
Hmm. I think for most of us, uh, when we hear the word networking, the
Yeah.
next word that rings in our head is, "Ah, I'm reluctant," right? Many of us are really not happy networking.
Yeah.
Uh, I would say I'm one of them as well. In
Yeah.
fact, I run a workshop at Returnize called Networking for Reluctant Returners. Okay.
Oh, lovely.
But at the same time, we know networking is important. So I would like to address this question where let's first understand what is the problem with this word networking. Why does this create this negative space in our mind? And then let's shortly understand what is the importance of networking. And if we understand all these, then maybe we can come up with a solution that will work for most of us, right? So the problem with the word networking is, at least in our mind, it immediately brings this feeling that it is something artificial. It is something where we just have to ask others about uh, something about jobs, and it's all about professional world. And it really it feels very unnatural to most of us. And that's when we hesitate, because most of us have a lot of friends and family and we know how to socialize. So connecting with people is not a problem with many of us. But networking brings these sets of problems, right? So, however, we all also know that networking is important because it brings opportunities. It makes connections which will possibly get us our next job. It also introduces us to what's happening new in the field. There's so many advantages of these networking events. So if we know it is important, if we also know that there is a problem with that word, how can we solve it? And by the way, before even I go further, I strongly believe and I advise all my women at Returnize that you will get your next opportunity, your next job, mostly through networking than by applying on these platforms like Indeed or Monster or LinkedIn Jobs, right? because you're competing against a lot of people, and networking is going to be your door that's going to let you in into your eventual opportunity. So we know the importance of networking. So in order to make it beneficial, fruitful, as well as slightly enjoyable, uh, one important thing is we have to prepare well. Preparation is the key. And how do you prepare for any networking event, right? You have to understand people you're meeting with, who are they, companies they are from, do your homework, what questions you would like to ask them, and what story you would like to tell them. You have to prepare that depending on whom you're meeting with. And it is not that easy to really do this preparation because there are so many different layers, but you have to pay attention and you have to really work hard on this. And once you do this preparation, I think the next thing is uh, don't forget we are all humans after all.
Yeah.
They have their personal stories, we have our personal stories. Sure, we are trying to exchange information in a professional way and about profession, but we can't let our human side or our life, as I call the work life balance, go. So it's okay to connect with other people at a human level as well. And if we remember these two things, I think most of the networking events will be a lot more enjoyable than being reluctant. So just stay curious and don't feel pressured.
This is great advice, Swati. Lovely. Like one of the first jobs that I got in the US was through a networking opportunity that I came across. So very, very well said. I was reluctant to go at the beginning, but like you mentioned, I went and boom, I landed my first job. So thank you so much for elaborating on that. Right. So moving on, right? I want to understand. Could you elaborate to me what are the core principles, the sisterhood and women empowerment as they're embodied within the Returnize community? Can you explain more?
Absolutely. I can talk for hours on this one. No, I think
We are listening. We are happy to listen.
no, 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 no. I mean, I don't want to take too much time, but at the same time, what I mean by that is I'm really passionate about it. It's really dear and near to my heart
Yeah.
because we all have heard a phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. But it honestly also takes a village to uh, progress in your career. It takes a village to lead your life, right? Because we humans are social creatures. We need communities around us. We are not born, we are not evolved to remain isolated all the time. And we all know, by the way, that there are enough theories that prove again and again how important it is for us to have a community around us. In fact, I've been doing a lot of reading on this topic because since I've started Returnize and since I've seen how successful it has become, uh, there is a evolutionary hypothesis. It's called social brain hypothesis, and it proves that our brains have evolved to have very deep, very meaningful connections. There are these neuroscience theories, something called a mirror neuron, where just like the word says, it actually mirrors uh, the activities or the emotions of people around us. And Returnize really embodies, I think, these principles in the work we are doing at Returnize, I would say. It's based on these hypotheses, these uh, sciences which tell us that we are part of a sisterhood, we are part of a community, and we need to lift each other up. In fact, if you read the tagline of Returnize, it says forward together confidently.
Yeah.
And we all want to keep moving forward. We don't want to feel stuck. Uh, and we all want to also feel confident. That's empowerment, right? We want to have that energy to do something on our own, take the next steps. But when we see the people around us, when women at Returnize see other women
Yeah.
coming into the program all confused and without any idea of what they should be doing next, and
Yeah.
take one step at a time and slowly moving forward, solving these pieces of puzzle, and eventually just feeling energetic and positive and getting where they want.
Yeah.
Um, it really spreads into the community, and other women say, you know what, her story was not too different than mine, she could
Yeah.
do it, I can do it too.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we just we have to move together, we have to
Yeah.
move forward, and it may not be a very a linear progression of moving forward. There may be some left turns, right turns, U-turns, but taking that step is extremely important. And
Yeah.
that's empowerment. That's empowerment. So it is really at the core of Returnize. It is not about just writing resumes. It's not just about interviews. It's really about getting your story clear to you
Yeah.
and moving forward together.
Yeah. I mean, this is very inspiring. I'm a huge advocate of sisterhood. So it's wonderful to hear this from you. Thank you, Swati.
And actually, speaking of sisterhoods, actually, let me
Yeah.
just elaborate one thing, right? In the
Yeah.
process of this return, I realized that there are different kinds of sisterhoods, and I wrote an article on that. But there is a sisterhood of, I would call well-wishers. And by the way, we need all these sisterhoods. But there is a
Yeah.
sisterhood, and by sisterhood, it could be brotherhood, it could be community. But I'm using a term sisterhood because I work with women. But sisterhood of well-wishers, these are the people who shine light onto our path. You know, when we're very feeling low and very confused, they say, "Hey, you can do it," and
Yeah.
it gives us that ability to at least wake up momentarily and move forward a little bit. But these people may or may not be able to take us all the way through the journey that we really eventually want to walk. And there are other kinds of sisterhoods, but the one that's important one is the sisterhood of action, because that's where you wish well, but you
Yeah.
don't stop at that point. You
Yeah.
also hold everyone accountable,
Yeah.
and you make sure that your journey continues to move forward until you reach the goal that you where you want to be. And I call
Yeah.
Returnize a sisterhood of action. So my advice to everyone would be to find your sisterhoods. We need sisterhood of well-wishers, passions, as well as actions, where we really need to accomplish one thing at a time, slowly and steadily. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No, no, no. I mean, it's lovely, right? Thank you for elaborating on that, right? Thank you so much, Swati. I mean, last but not the least, right? I would like to get what essential career advice would you give to like people that are recently graduating, or even to your younger self, right? At the early stages of professional life, what would your advice be?
oh boy, uh, many I would give myself. I wish I could turn the clock back.
Yeah, we all wish that.
But I mean, I think I talked on a lot of topics for sure. But
Yeah,
let's see. I would say to the younger myself, or all the young ones who are now entering the workforce, I would tell them, uh, don't be alone. Don't be alone, because there will be a lot of times when you will be confused. There will be a lot of times you'll be questioning. See, when things are going fine, uh, you many times you don't need others around you. But when you are confused and when you're feeling a little bit stuck, you don't reach out very easily. And I would say, sure, your experiences are unique to yourself, but generally these problems are not unique. There are many others who are dealing with same problems, and many of them have already resolved these problems. So don't walk these journeys alone. Just take help from others. That definitely something that, and it does, and I'm keeping this very generic because it really applies regardless of what profession you will be entering. There will be ups and downs, and you want to really reach out to people, take help, as I said earlier, have a mentor, all that I think fits into this particular category. I think the other one, and I have elaborated that on before, but again, I would say keep getting that clarity from time to time.
Yeah.
You have to understand that you are changing as time passes. Your situation is changing. So you want to take maybe on an annual basis when it's your annual review, find a time, but ask hard questions. What am I doing and why am I doing it?
Yeah.
Because if you understand the reasons behind what you're doing, then it gives you clarity and it gives you framework and guardrail to move forward.
Yeah.
And it could be because you need the financial support, because you need a purpose in your life, whatever your reasons may be. And there may not be just one reason, it could be multiple of reasons together.
Yeah.
But understanding them clearly will really help you stay in the boundaries and the guardrails and will actually bring joy of working.
Yeah.
And I think the last thing, which again I'm going to repeat myself, but stay focused on your soft skills and relationships.
Yeah.
Work-life balance is extremely important, and I think in today's world, especially where we are inundated with a lot of technology, it is very easy to get sucked into learning this technology and that technology and just getting wrapped into that. But wake up from that from time to time, make those connections and keep those connections alive.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, the purpose, right? Rethink what your purpose is, and that's absolutely lovely, Swati. Thank you so much for the advice, right? Even I wish I could go back and talk to my younger self and give myself advice, but we don't have the chance. But thank you so much for this would be a great advice for people that are recently graduated and are trying to find where they fit into the industry. So thank you so much, Swati. That's pretty much it, Swati. These are the main things that I wanted to discuss and ask you today. Thank you so much. It was an absolute honor to have you here with us at the IBIC podcast series. Thank you